Sure, here's a 10-paragraph VPT, viral paragraph text, story for the headline. Clint Eastwood kicked off Jimmy Kimmel's show after heated clash. Each paragraph approximately 3,000 alphabetic characters, no headings or scenes. 1. The audience at Jimmy Kimmel Live expected the usual lighthearted banter and maybe a few surprises, but no one anticipated what would unfold when Clint Eastwood, the legendary actor and director, made his entrance. At first, the atmosphere was electric. The crowd erupted in applause as the 94-year-old icon stepped onto the stage. Jimmy greeted him with a warm smile and the typical charm he brings to all interviews. But beneath Clint's calm demeanor, something was brewing. He looked sharp in his classic suit, but his eyes carried a different fire. Not the tired haze of an aging celebrity, but the quiet, patient anger of a man who had waited too long to say something he'd been holding back. 2. The first few minutes passed with ease. Jimmy brought up the good, the bad and the ugly, cracked a joke about Eastwood being the last cowboy left in Hollywood, and even teased him about his gravelly voice. Clint chuckled politely but gave only curt replies. Then Jimmy, with a smirk, veered the conversation toward politics. It was common knowledge that Eastwood leaned conservative, and Kimmel, well known for his progressive views, couldn't resist poking the bear. He made a snide joke about Eastwood talking to an empty chair at the 2012 Republican National Convention, a moment the internet never forgot. The audience laughed, but Clint didn't. His jaw clenched, and his gaze darkened. 3. Still doing stand-up about that? Eastwood asked coldly. Jimmy grinned, trying to play it off. Come on, Clint, you've gotta admit that was a little odd. Clint leaned forward, slowly removing his earpiece. You invited me here to mock me. The crowd murmured in discomfort. Jimmy tried to pivot, laughing nervously. It's all in good fun, legend. But Clint wasn't smiling. You're not funny, he said bluntly, and the tension thickened. A staff member moved near the side of the stage, visibly uneasy. What was meant to be a 5-minute segment was now a showdown. 4. Kimmel, sensing he was losing control, doubled down. I mean, you're the guy who talks to invisible presidents. I talk to celebrities, Clint, they actually talk back. That did it. Eastwood rose from his chair. This is what's wrong with your generation, he said. You mock everything you don't understand, and you think hiding behind a laugh track gives you guts. The crowd gasped. Clint stood tall, refusing to sit back down. A few audience members clapped awkwardly, unsure of whose side to take. Kimmel, still in his seat, looked stunned, no longer the smirking host but a man who had just been called out on national television. 5. Security appeared at the edge of the curtain, unsure if they should intervene. Jimmy raised a hand to signal that things were under control, but they weren't. Clint, without being told, turned to walk off stage. But just as he passed the camera, he paused. I came here to talk about my new film. Instead, you made it about your ego. That's Hollywood now, huh? The audience was silent. No one laughed. No applause sign could save the moment. Clint Eastwood had just walked out, not stormed out, but walked out in a way only he could, with deliberate, heavy silence trailing behind him. 6. Backstage, chaos unfolded. Producers rushed to figure out how to edit the segment. PR teams scrambled to prepare statements. Kimmel tried to recover on air with a clumsy joke, but it fell flat. Well, that was unexpected. Clint Eastwood, everybody, still unpredictable after all these years. A few people in the audience chuckled, but most were still stunned. Viewers watching live took to social media within seconds. Hashtags like #Clint vs Kimmel and #Eastwood walkout began trending. Clips were uploaded, dissected, and debated. What had started as a routine late-night appearance had turned into a viral cultural clash. 7. By morning, every outlet from TMZ to CNN was covering the story. Fox News called Clint a patriot silenced by Hollywood's elite, while others criticized him for being unable to take a joke. Memes flooded the internet, but something deeper was simmering beneath the surface. The moment had struck a nerve. Clint, long revered for his no-nonsense attitude, had become a symbol of old-school Hollywood confronting the sarcastic, performative tone of modern media. It wasn't just about politics, it was about respect, dignity, and how far entertainment had drifted from sincerity. 8. Later that week, Eastwood issued a short statement. I don't regret walking off. I've been in this industry long enough to know when someone's playing games. I'm not a punchline. That was it. No press tour, no apology. Kimmel, on the other hand, tried to clean up the mess. On his next episode, he attempted a half-hearted monologue joke. Clint Eastwood kicked me off my own show, or at least it felt that way. But the laughter wasn't the same. The moment had cast a shadow over his image, not career-ending, but certainly scarring. 9. Producers at ABC held internal meetings. Sponsors voiced concern. Older viewers praised Eastwood for standing up to snark, while younger fans criticized him as out of touch. Meanwhile, Clint's upcoming film, the very reason he was on the show, saw a massive boost in attention. Pre-sale numbers soared, and curiosity around the movie that started the feud grew. Hollywood buzzed, but Eastwood stayed silent, retreating from interviews entirely. He didn't need to explain himself. The footage spoke volumes, and perhaps that was the point. In a town full of noise, Clint chose silence. 10. And as the dust settled, one thing became clear: it wasn't just a clash between two men. It was a cultural moment. The old versus the new, directness versus irony, legacy versus ratings. Clint Eastwood didn't need Jimmy Kimmel. He didn't need the show, the crowd, or the applause. He had lived long enough to outlast trends, cancellations, and talk show hosts. While Jimmy returned to scripted laughs and safe interviews, Eastwood walked away with his dignity, and once again, reminded America why legends never bow. They simply turn, stare, and walk off into the silence. If you want this adapted to another style, e.g., more humorous, darker, or with a twist ending, let me know.